So hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is me, Oodles of Sins, or Shawnee, and today I am doing a different type of video than I usually do on my channel. And today I'm going to be trying out some Dollar Tree art supplies. So I'm hoping to make this a series where I try out some different crafting and art supplies from Dollar Tree and kind of give you guys a review of how they work and also just, make some cool stuff. So yeah, before we get into it, make sure you guys are subscribed and you turn on notifications so that you know every time I post. So I've gotten a lot of crafting materials from Dollar Tree over the past few months, honestly, and some of them I've already done on my own without filming, but others I kind of wanted to go ahead and do with you all on screen. And one of the things that I wanted to do was this air dry clay that I picked up quite a few months ago. Just never got around to using it because I wanted to get some materials and stuff, to some tools I should say, to use with it before I got it. So this air dry clay is 8.8 ounces or 250 grams. It dries in 24 hours. It is a red clay, and obviously it is the Crafter's Square brand, and it is paintable when dry, and it's moldable and easy to use, and it's non-toxic, but also you would not use this for food or anything like that. If you know anything about clay, you have to use clay that's specifically designed to be edible. I don't want to say edible, that's not the word that I mean, but food safe. Like, you want to make sure that any paint or material you're using is safe to be consumed, and this, you don't want to do that. And also you use clay to soften the pieces. I have a water bottle here because I am going to make some silt or slip. I don't know why I said silt, but slip, if you know clay terminology, it's basically the more liquid form of clay that can be used as sort of a glue to attach the pieces, and I'll show you guys a method for attaching that. And you can store this clay in an airtight container, but do not store it once water has been added, because if you do that, it will mold, because clay is natural. It's made of basically dirt and water. That's how we get clay naturally. So yeah, we don't know how natural this is. And you keep the finished products away from open flame. Do not put in an oven, microwave, or kiln. This is not polymer clay, and this is not a typical fire blasted clay, or something that can be cured in a kiln. And it contains wheat, so that's interesting, and it's not food. Adult supervision required. So I have an idea for what I want to make, and I'm gonna insert a clip of that once I show you guys all the tools that I got. So the next thing I got from the crafter section was these craft clay tools, and there are 5 pieces of different things. There's like a knife kind of tool. They also have multiple ends so that you can use either end for whatever you would like to do. This one is like a shell kind of a texture. It's more of like a scoop. And this is kind of like a drill, and that's kind of a serrated kind of blade, and this one is like that. And then I also got this Crafter's Square multi-use acrylic gloss finish, and it says provides shiny gloss finish and clear coating for protection, humidity, and dirt. Blends easily and dries quickly for glass, ceramic, paper, terracotta, canvas, and wood. So I really wanted to give this a try, and this is 1 fluid ounce, and this is the clear. They also had a bunch of different colors of this. And the last thing I did not get from the crafter section of Dollar Tree, I got this from the party section. This is the cake decorating tool kit, and it also has a kind of shell tool, this little round part. I don't know the technical names, I'm forgetting them, but yeah. So hopefully all these tools will come into use. And I'm also going to use some foil on my desk because I don't have like a craft mat or anything. This is actually my craft desk. As you can see, the paint, I've never really filmed over here before, so this is new. So hopefully the angle is fine until I can tweak it a little bit. So hopefully you guys don't mind what it looks like. I hope it doesn't look too bad for your eyes. But yeah, I'm going to show you guys the photo that I'm going to be using. I'm going to be recreating this little design that I found on Facebook. I was browsing through Facebook and I came across this Michaels like goth line that they have. Didn't know they had anything like that at Michaels, but I thought it was really pretty. It's like a little gold heart trinket like container that's shaped like a snake. So I thought that was really cute, and I was like, I kind of want to make that myself. So that's what we're going to be making today. And yeah, so obviously this video will be multiple parts because I have to wait for the clay to dry to actually paint it. But today we're going to do the actual creating, and I'll give you guys my first opinion on the air dry clay. So without further ado, we're going to get into it. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make a slip solution. So basically I'm going to take a little piece of the clay and I'm going to add water to it to make slip. And slip is essentially like a muddy kind of glue. You take a small bit of clay and a little bit of water, and I'm going to take this toothbrush and basically mix it together to make like a mud. This is, like I said, a glue that is going to help the clay adhere. And it can also be used as a conditioning agent to prevent cracks. So after making the slip coat solution, the next step is to condition the clay. And conditioning the clay is basically warming it up and smoothing it out in your hands. Some people do this with like I think it's like a pasta arm thing, where a pasta press or whatever, when they kind of roll it through and it gets flat. But essentially you're adding some heat to the clay to get it ready and malleable. Now the clay did have a weird kind of wet feel. It felt plasticky, but it had like this weird wetness. So I don't really know what that was, but it cracked so much, and I didn't have a rolling pin or anything, but I was doing my best. So I did take a little bit of that slip solution to smooth out some of those cracks, but in the end, it really did not do much. If I'm being completely honest with you, it did not do a lot. So be mindful of that with this Dollar Tree clay. Next, I'm going in with these clay tools, and I'm getting out the knife tool so I can begin cutting out the heart shape. Now, what I will say is I could have done a lot better with this. I should have made things a lot better. I should have done a different method of doing the heart. But I was just kind of freeballing with this. Like I just, I wasn't trying to think too much about it. But lesson learned, I could have done a lot better with the initial sculpting. But, I just wanted to get this out of the way and use this clay because it's been sitting on my craft stand for months at this point. But yeah, and also I went in on the edges to try to smooth out those edges and get out any cracks before I start the assembly of the additional parts of the jar, or the dish, I should say. And now I'm taking more clay that I'm going to roll out into these noodle shapes because this is going to create the body of the snake. Now again, you can do this between your hands or on the table. I didn't want to shake the table too much and mess up the camera angle because my camera wasn't mounted to the table. And I was also a little annoyed by the crinkling of the foil because, like I said, I don't have like a proper clay mat on my desk. But, again, doing our best with what we have and just going from there. It was a little hard to make these uniform in size because of the consistency of the clay and, like I said, my desktop, but do as best as you can with what you have. So now we're going in with the scoring method, and the scoring method is basically making these deep ridges or hatches in the surface of the clay so that you can attach the additional pieces. The scoring technique, basically you score, like I said, make these deep sort of cuts and ridges, like basically just roughing up the surface, and you're going to put some of that slip on there. Then you will do the same to the opposite, to the item that you're going to attach, which will be the body of the snake. As you can see me adding the scoring marks to it, and that's going to help it stick and attach and not fall apart. It is a little bit of a messy process. There's better ways to do it, but I'm just doing the best of what I have, and that was using that toothbrush and just adding those markings in. And I can say that it did work as intended. Mind you, I'm using my clay knowledge from years ago in school, but I'm glad I retained a lot of that knowledge from all my public school art classes. And so now I am going in with this little ball tool that was in that clay kit, and I'm smoothing the sides, basically like sealing that seam between the clay to additionally support it so it won't come apart. And I know the angle isn't the best, but I'm doing what I can with what I had. I didn't have my second tripod because I was going to record some clips at different angles on my phone, but I left my other tripod in the car, so I couldn't really do that for you guys. But I will keep that in the mind for future videos so that you guys can have several angles of what I'm doing and it's not just top down. And in between each layer, I am continuing to go through and smooth out the top. Then I am repeating the scoring method with the slip and adding on the other pieces. And at this point, I'm going in with this kind of pokey tool, and I'm adding these tiny dots to mimic the skin of the steak, as you can see in the reference photo. Everyone, we are on a second part of our Dollar Tree air dry clay project, and it has been 48 hours since the initial putting together of this, and it's finally hard, sorta. So on the Dollar Tree packaging for the clay, it says that it dries in about 48 no, it says 24 hours is what it would take for it to dry, but I can tell you it takes longer than 48 minutes. And sorry, didn't mean to click my teeth, but as you can see, there was a ton of cracking, and it wasn't like this the first day, but it's cracked a lot, which I knew that was going to happen because I could see that as I was, attempting to work with it. But I also saw that in a lot of reviews that it cracks a lot. Even with us trying to smooth it as much as we could, it still cracked. So be mindful of that. But it finally got kind of hard. It's not all the way. I can still kind of, especially on the bottom, well, earlier when I first tested it, I could still make a lot of impressions and stuff. Now, it's very dusty. It does have a lot of dust fallout. I could go in and sand it, but I don't want to risk breaking it more than what it is. This is not going to be something you can roughhouse or handle roughly. It's just not going to give that. But we are going to begin our painting. I'm probably going to wipe it off with a damp paper towel. Just wipe it a little bit, and we're going to get into our painting. So I'm using my little mat. I have my paint palette that I've used since I was in the 8th grade, which was a very, very, very long time ago. And we're going to be using some Apple Barrel matte black as kind of our tone to kind of I guess our base coat. I guess this is just Apple Barrel matte black, and then we're going to paint it with the Folk Art metallic pure gold paint, and we're gonna seal it with our Dollar Tree multi-use acrylic gloss. So let's get into the painting. We're on to the painting stage, and I'm going with my Folk Art matte black paint, and I'm just giving the whole thing a good old heaping coat. I think I only did one coat. This matte paint really was opaque and it dried really fast, and I didn't really have to go in with too much, and I decided to go with an opaque matte paint before putting on the gold so that the gold will really pop and really shine how it's supposed to. I feel like when you're using metallic colors like that, it's best to put them on a very dark kind of matte base because it just helps the color pigment show better, at least to me. So yeah. So I think I misspoke. I meant to say the apple barrel paint. This is the folk art paint, and this is a metallic gold paint, and it is so pretty. Like, I cannot wait until y'all see the finished product because this paint is so pretty, and I don't really use it a lot, but you can already kind of see how it takes so well to being on that black base. And yeah, I can't wait until y'all see the end because it looks so good. So now we're going in with the Crafter Square like acrylic top coat, the multi-use acrylic top coat. It's really glossy and it reminds me a bit of Liquitex, but I'll talk more about that later on. It has a kind of medium smell. It's not too strong, but it's not noticeable. It's a little noticeable, but it went on really well, and it looks a little milky, but it dries completely clear and glossy. All right, so we are all done with our Michaels, our Dollar Tree version of a Michaels trinket dish, I guess you could say. So this is after I have painted it and sealed it with the Dollar Tree varnish, the Crafter Square varnish, and it looks okay. It could be so much better, but this is the head of the snake. You can't really see most of those details I put in, like a lot of them dried away, and I couldn't really hit this with a sandpaper because it would have, you know, disappeared. But it's a little bit glossier. This gold folk art paint is really pretty, and it definitely gets that glint of the gold. I obviously didn't paint the bottom, but you can hear that. You probably can't, but this is what it looks like, all glazed up, and you know. So first I want to talk about the varnish first before I talk about everything as a whole. So this is like a Dollar Tree version of like this Liquitex varnish. This one is 4 fluid ounces and this one is 1. This one looks white on camera, but it's like a milky white, but it dries clear obviously. And I don't remember how much I paid for this, but it's Liquitex, so, and it's professional grade. I got this for doll repaints, so it's definitely more expensive than $125 for the Dollar Tree version. They have a similar smell. This one definitely has a more varnish smell. It's not too strong, but it's noticeable. Compared to this one doesn't have a very strong smell, at least to me. But for $1.25, I don't think you can beat this. It's very glossy, and obviously it dries pretty high gloss if you ask me. I only did 1.5 coats. I didn't do too much because I was just like, I'm kind of tired of looking at this and I just wanted to be done with it. But you know, this is a great alternative for, you know, varnishing your paintings or wood crafts or anything like that that you do at Dollar Tree. And I know they have this in other colors, but I only got the clear because I didn't really see a purpose in getting the other ones. But yeah, so I think it's decent quality if you need it for glossing, anything like that. So on to the clay. So this is the remainder of the clay that I have about half a pack or so out of the 8.8 ounces. Yeah, 25 grams. I only used that amount. And thoughts about the clay. So for $1.25, you obviously know you're not going to get the best quality for $1.25. It's pretty obvious. But this, you know, I didn't know what to expect, honestly, but I was a little disappointed. I had seen some videos like on TikTok and YouTube of people, you know, speaking about the quality. One thing that a lot of people mentioned was the cracking. It starts to crack almost immediately when you take it out of the pack. It has like this wet texture. It feels like polymer clay, which it should not feel like polymer clay because it's not polymer clay. At least that's not what it said. It's air dry clay. Polymer clay is obviously plastic. It had like a plasticky wet feel, which I'm not used to in air dry clays. In the past, I've always used like the Crayola kind, which you can also find at Dollar Tree in the kids section, at least at my Dollar Tree. You can find the Crayola paper clay or air dry clay and Dollar Tree for $1.25. But immediately upon using it, it was cracking. It had that weird wet feel. Didn't really like it. And even with making like my little DIY slip mixture, I will say it helped it stick. These have not budged, so it did help it stick as it should. You do like the crossing or hatching method to make it stick, which obviously I'll probably explain in the video. But the cracking, as it was drying, cracks. And the clay leaves a lot of dust and fallout as it dries too. So be careful of that if you have breathing problems or lung issues. You don't want to breathe that in. It says it's made of like wheat, something wheat on the package. I'll put the text in here, but by the time it dried, you can't get it really smooth because it continues to crack as you smooth it. So you can see all of that in the inside. It's not really smooth at all. So that's not great. But, you know, for the price, I wouldn't complain. I definitely would not suggest this clay for sculpting or crafting things like this. I feel like with this clay, it's something you flatten out and you cut it out with maybe cookie cutters or stencils or something like that. I don't think you should use this clay for composing something like this, because you see, it doesn't really look like how I wanted it to look or what I wanted it to look like. With the proper clay, I'll probably be able to do a better job, but it's sticking together. It has not fallen apart despite all the cracks and despite me handling it to paint it and everything like that. So yeah, I don't think it looks too much like the Michaels version. It's not giving that. But I think, you know, this is great for if you have little kids that want to, you know, experiment with air dry clay or make like, you know, something simple. I saw some people make Christmas ornaments. I think I saw a video of someone make little gingerbread cookie Christmas ornaments, stuff like that. Definitely. Yeah. So that is my review of the Dollar Tree air dry clay. and the, well, let me say the Crafter's Square air dry clay and the Crafter's Square acrylic gloss finish or varnish. And if you guys would like to see more of these videos in the future, let me know. I do have a couple more that I want to record for you guys. Or if you have any Dollar Tree products that you would like for me to try, leave a comment down below and I will try to make a video for you guys. Without further ado, thank you so much for watching. If you like this content, leave a comment down below, subscribe, turn on notifications so that you know every time I post, and I will see you on my next one. Bye.